Hello again, everyone. The Snowman here. Today's video all about the African Cup of Nations. Figured it'd be an appropriate time to explain this international football tournament with the 2024 edition coming up soon. Right now, we'll go over what the African Cup of Nations is, its team, schedule, format, all the essentials of this prestigious event. So what is the Africa Cup of Nations? Simply put, it's the primary international men's football competition in Africa. The Africa Cup of Nations is sanctioned by the Confederation of African Football, or CAF for short. So basically, this is Africa's big international soccer tournament. We have the Euros in Europe, UEFA runs that, Copa America in South America, Gold Cup in North America, etc. Think of this as kind of the World Cup, but only within the continent of Africa. Every CAF nation battling for continental glory. The Africa Cup of Nations was first held in 1957. Since 1968, it's been held every 2 years, so not every 4 years like the World Cup or the Euros, a little bit more frequent. It was on an even-numbered year schedule, but since 2013, now it's played every odd-numbered year, so 2015, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, etc. One exception, the 2023 edition will be played in 2024 due to some adverse summer weather conditions in Ivory Coast, but generally this event played in every odd-numbered year. Let's talk about teams in qualification now. Technically, there's 54 teams eligible to enter the Africa Cup of Nations, 54 nations a part of CAF as of 2024. Those 54 teams are whittled down to 24 as part of a year-long qualification process leading up to the final competition. Essentially, there's two stages of qualification, a preliminary stage where 6 teams are eliminated, and then a group stage where the remaining 48 teams are placed into 12 groups of 4 teams each. This is an example of the qualifying groups for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. Everybody plays the other teams in their group twice, once at home and once on the road, and the top 2 countries from each group advance to the final tournament. From there, we have our remaining 24 nations who compete at the Africa Cup of Nations, an event that typically lasts a month and is played in January or June, depending on the climate of the host nation. This is what the format looks like, very similar to tournaments like the World Cup. 24 teams, that number has increased over the years, started off with 4 in the 1950s, 8 teams through most of the 70s and 80s, we had 16 teams for a long time. Since 2019 though, the Africa Cup of Nations is a 24-team final event. 2 phases, group stage plus knockout stage. We divide our 24 teams into 6 groups of 4 teams each. From there, the teams in each group play a single round robin, so every team guaranteed to play at least 3 games, once against the other 3 teams in their group. Teams were awarded 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and 0 points for a loss. After the group stage, we tally up the points, and the top 2 teams from each group, plus the 4 third-place teams with the most points, advance to the knockout stage. This is how the knockout bracket looked in 2021. Again, all 6 group winners and runners-up, plus the 4 best third-place teams, they're all paired up, and then we play a 16-team single elimination knockout draw. From here on out, if games are tied after 90 minutes, we play extra time and go to penalties if necessary. We go from 16 teams down to 8 to 4 until just 2 nations remain. They play one single match to determine who's the best in Africa. And this is a quick look at all the teams that have made at least one final at the Africa Cup of Nations as of 2024. Egypt, the all-time leader in titles with 7, thanks to some early dominance and a three-peat in the 2000s. Cameroon with 5 trophies. We see a trio of Western African teams achieving a lot of success in Ghana, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast. Personally, I think it's a great competition. Maybe not as many household names as the Euros or Copa America, but there's some really great teams in Africa. We just saw Morocco make a World Cup semifinal in 2022. This is a really fun continental competition. Thanks a lot for watching my African Cup of Nations video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more soccer and football content. Leave a comment if you have any questions or want to make a prediction for the 2024 African Cup of Nations, and I'll be back very soon. Cheers!